Welcome to Home Again. This podcast explores what changes inside you when you move to another country. And today I'm joined by David, who was born and raised in Colombia and has lived in multiple countries, including South Africa, before settling in Ireland. David, I want to thank you for being here today. And just before we begin with the actual questions, just to let you know, there's no pressure to have perfect answers. This is just a space for you to be able to tell your story, to reflect on your experience, and to give all of that across in your own words. And so a fitting place for us to start is obviously the very beginning. David, can you take me back to Colombia, your home country? What was life like there, and what was happening when you first decided to leave and move elsewhere?
Hello, Chris. Hello, everybody. Well, yes, I'm from Bogota. Chris, Bogota. My neighborhood is called Modelia. I lived with, of course, with my parents at that time. I had a good job. I just finished my university, graduated of business management, and had a good position with the government. And I actually wanted to do something else. Like I wanted to get more knowledge and especially learn English. That is the most important, when you are 19, 20. And I start looking around like, where can I move? Where can I explore my life? Where can I be something different that I want to be, just to at least to learn the language and then come back and get a promotion in my job and then continue in my job or something like that. And I started exploring, like just talking with friends, like, do you know agencies or places? Where can I go? A lot of people were telling me, yeah, go to England or move to USA, go to Canada, go to Malta. And then one friend of mine that went before in 2010 for the World Cup, she told me, what about South Africa? They actually speak a good English and you should try. You should try. Check around. Check what they have. And I'm like, in my mind was like, South African? I didn't think that actually they speak English. Like, always like you think like, oh, it's Africa. Who speak English in these countries, right? And then I start searching about the country and I start getting more information about it. And yes, then I decided, okay, I'm going to South Africa. Let's see what I need to do to get there. Like, what is the visa process? Agencies that will take me there, flights, accommodation, so many things that you don't know until you start looking at it. Especially in my case that I didn't have a job to go there to start working. I was just graduated, have my job, but without knowing what is gonna happen on the other side. Oh yeah, definitely. I got an agency that helped me out with the visa process and the English course. So then I told my parents that was the most difficult part because parents are always like, oh yeah, he's moving, but probably close by. From Colombia, the closest one will be United States. But I didn't want to go to the United States. It was not a place that I wanted to go and experience or do something different. And also, especially because a lot of Latin people go to United States or Canada, for example.
That's right.
And South Africa caught me because it was, apart from being different, the culture was also something that I wanted to see. Like, what is the people in Africa does that we in Latin America don't do or do different, thinking that we have also similarities like with the African continent, no? And well, I started my process. It was a little bit a long process. It took me almost a year to get all the documents, get the visa, because the visa for South Africa was quite long. It took, I passed the documents and they just took long to reply to us. But in the meantime, I was saving money also. So it kind of play out and it helped me out a little bit to save. And then I think it was in 2012, I got the visa at the end of 2012 because I moved in 2013 to South Africa. I got my visa in 2012 and I went with my mom. And I remember the face when I told her, like, okay, we got the visa for South Africa. I'm leaving next year. And she was like crying. It's like, no, but why are you going to South Africa? I still don't understand why you think South Africa being that far. I'm like, Mom, why
You
not?
try and go any further away.
Yeah. Yeah, like the further I could go would be Australia, but also Australia was so expensive when I was looking for flights or how to be there. I'm like, no, that's too much. And I remember that day from my mom crying. My dad was like, okay, if you're leaving, I will help you with the flight tickets. But then the rest, you can do it yourself. So the money that I saved was mostly for accommodation and my English course, when I went there. And but it was hard to leave the family, like to that moment when I told them I got my visa, I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Like this is real. Like
Mm. Yeah.
in
That's
that
when
time,
it hit home.
yeah, it hits hard now that I'm thinking of, and those feelings are like happiness, but also on the same time it's lonely, no, because you don't know what your life is gonna give you in the other side. Is a lot of
Mm.
expectations
Yes.
more than maybe also being nervous of of the language barrier of going and probably don't understand what is going on. But in my mind was like, I
Yes.
need to be strong. I need to be capable of everything. Like I'm already a grown up. I still live with my parents, but now I'm gonna have a new step that is living by myself, trying to start my life and continue with something at least for 1 year. That was I don't know, was 2 years my visa, and then come back to Colombia and continue with my life. That was my plan. My plan was
That's right.
coming back to Colombia and continue.
But that's not how it worked out, obviously, because that's not where you
Yeah.
are. So you've still got more of the story, clearly.
Yes. Yeah. So I lived in South Africa for 11 years. So I was planning to go for 2, and then I stayed for 11. So
Longer than a language course.
yeah, yeah. The English course was really good. I think that was better. Like after 11 years, and I can speak English, so I think it was good. I took a
Yes.
English course for 3 months, and then I decided the English course doesn't help me, and I just gonna go and talk with the people. That's the way to learn. Like yeah, and then when I moved to South Africa, it's a long flight from Colombia because I flew through Brazil and then Brazil to Johannesburg and then Johannesburg to Cape Town. So it was a beautiful long of 2 days going all the way to South Africa. Tourist expression of South Africa, I got a night so I couldn't see anything. But in Johannesburg, a lot of people were asking me for things, and the only way that get away from them was like I don't speak English, and I don't need you. Damn. Go with my backpack.
Yeah.
Don't talk to anybody because it's something that we have similar from Latin America and South Africa and Africa is the security. So we know we cannot leave our bags somewhere or talk to strangers or well things like that,
Mm.
especially in airport. No, and yeah, when I started in South Africa, so now I moved to South Africa. No, so in all this process, I got the accommodation in a hostel for a few days while I was looking for a house. I stay in a nice area. You probably know Greenpoint. So beautiful area in Cape
Green.
Town. Yeah, close to the stadium, walking distance for everything. So it was quite nice. And I came in summer, so it was well summer to ending summer because it was March, end of March, and so trying to find a job it was a little bit hard. But I started my course, 3 months of the course, and then in the afternoons I was looking for jobs, walking around, trying to go to a
Yes.
restaurant to a restaurant because without English, it's difficult to try to get to a company and they will accept you. No, that was also a struggle, like because you didn't speak the language, and then they're like, okay, you want to be a waiter, but how do you gonna order? Like I didn't know many of the words and like catering or
Yeah.
just well, the basics and that's it. But what if they want to order something? You just have to point them what do you want and that's it. It's like was the easy way. But they
Mm.
no, they most of them say no, no, no. And I got a job after looking and searching a friend, well, a lady that I met, the Ecuadorian lady. She had me in a restaurant. She was working there, but she was leaving. So she kind of like told the audience, no, I have somebody that is going to replace me. So that was kind of like
Okay.
how I got in, but I was not a waiter. I was gonna be a runner. I don't know if you know what is a runner. The
Yes.
guys that take the plates and
Yeah.
yeah, just clean practically.
Okay.
So no, okay, why not? I'm gonna work and I'm gonna start doing something. So I was like, I have a degree, but I'm gonna take plates just because I want to learn English, right? This is my life.
Yeah.
On the way, when I have my family, I have everything to do a work that probably was not up to my degree. But in the same time, I was like,
Mm.
I need to learn. And if this is the way that I need to learn, I will do it. So
Yeah.
re- I have something that I really like from everything of all my experience is that my listening is really good compared to my talking. So my listening,
Okay.
my ears are really good. Like I can pick up all the accents easy than in South Africa, especially, Like I cannot tell you about
Yes.
Cork. Cork is a different thing. But in South Africa, it's easier and not bad for a first start of work. Living in Greenpoint, I got a bicycle so I can move around, up and down, easy. Then I found accommodation in Buka, a little bit further, different scenario, different also culture. The Muslim guys, they were living in the area. Beautiful. Everyone in Buka is so friendly, so welcoming. So I had actually a really great time in this neighborhood. And yeah, I continue working the restaurant and going to school and then working, going to school. But then after those 3 months, I was like, I need to do something else. So I started looking for volunteer programs. What can I do that at least they are not paying me, but I can work in the morning in the restaurant, so I can work in the evenings in the restaurant and work and do something else. And
Yes.
one of the professors in the school told me about a company in Rondenbosch that they can help me with some volunteers. So I said, well, why not? Let me send an email. I sent an email to them with my broken English. Somehow the guy said, "Yep, you come and work here. Come, I will do an interview, and then we see." Yeah, so I got into the interview, and he was the owner was not there, but the manager was there. And when I go into the office, there were a lady from Brazil, a Swedish lady. I think there were two Swedish, one Brazilian, and then a South African. And the lady that did me the interview was Swedish, and she said that they are looking for people to be there just to volunteer to help with selling tours, helping some students from UCT to go to the houses, or just small things. I said,
Yes.
"Oh, why not? That can help me. That can help me to pick up my English a little bit more." And they said, well, if they accept me, would be nice. The next day, the owner texted me, well, he sent me an email and he say, yes, I will. We would like you to come by and work with us. But of course, you know that we're not going to pay you. Just come, work, volunteer, and then you go to work in the afternoons to your restaurant. So like, that would be perfect. Why not? Unless I'm gonna do something else, I'm gonna meet people. That is something that you need to know. And in the
Yes.
background of all of these things happening, I moved out from Bookup now back again to Greenpoint, and this time to live with three more Colombians that I met.
Okay.
Just because it was cheaper
Yes.
to move with people that you know than
Yeah.
people that you don't know. So I'll move with them in the meantime. Like that's talking to you like probably in a gap of 4 months after I arrived
Yes.
to South Africa. So it was great. It was really great. Like now I can work in the mornings, work in the evenings, getting paid, and then I can live. Now the money is not enough. Now that's the other thing. How you can get extra money? Because being a runner is not that they pay you that well. Like you don't get tips, you just get pennies, if I'm honest. They don't I don't
Mm.
know how they can live that with that little money, but yeah, it was not enough. So I started looking for an extra job, and I got a job in a Mexican restaurant through some of the Colombians that they were working also there,
Okay.
and that was way better. Like I got probably 50% more of what I was making as a runner in the other side. So I quit
Okay.
the other one. I stayed in the Mexican restaurant, and then after all of those things, because I was working in Rondebosch and coming back to town to work in the Mexican restaurant, I needed a easy access to move all around. I got a motorbike. My life was gonna change completely with a motorbike.
Yes.
Free movement all around Cape Town, free movement everywhere. So I was more than happy. And of course, in the background, my family was like, "I hope you're doing well. You don't have to be working in a restaurant. If you need money, please ask us." And I was like, "No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I don't need money. You even if you are in the worst thing and you don't have a lot of things to eat, you will don't want sometimes the help of your parents because I was feeling in that moment that I was gonna fail, and I didn't want them to think that I was failing. Like I wanted to show them that I was doing great, that I was doing right, like better than what they expect. But yeah, sometimes you struggle. Days of days, no, yeah, not all the days were perfect as you want, and
Mm.
there were a lot of days, a lot of times that you have struggles of like what I'm doing here, why I came to clean the dishes, or I came to pick up the trash from people. I have a bad experience in a bad experience one day when I was a runner, and I remember telling now my wife Michelle about that in the restaurant I didn't know what was a mop.
Yeah.
I didn't know the word. A client,
Mm.
a client customer in the restaurant dropped some water in the floor. So I came with a cloth, clean it, done. Probably no one is gonna fall. everything is good. One of the waiters
Yes.
start shouting at me and say like, you don't know, you cannot clean with that. You have to clear with a mop. Go and bring the mop. I don't know what is a mop. What is that? And I start asking
Yes.
like, what is that? What is that? And she's like, come here. But shouting in that African say, tone,
Mhm.
sometimes can be a little bit rude, sometimes can be like normal. But she was so upset
Yes.
and angry, and you can see in her face how upset she was. That she went to the back of the restaurant with me and she took them up and throw it to me in the face. And I'm like, yo, this is too much for me. Like, you cannot throw this. I don't know from where my English came from, but I told her, like, don't do that to me. I'm not your team. I'm here to work, but
Yes.
if you are gonna treat me like that, I will not work here with you. And that's it. And
That's right.
she's like, and I remember that the manager came and said, like, what is going on? And the manager speaks Spanish. So I told the manager, like, look, this is what is happening. And I don't
Mm.
I don't agree with what she's doing. So either you talk to her or I'm gonna go anyway. And she's like, let me talk to her and find out. So in my in my inside, I was like,
Yeah.
probably it's a way to punish her of how to treat people because I have a I have a degree, so I can go and work in another place and that's it. But the people that is there
Yes.
that is a lot of people that needs the money, and you go and treat them like the same way that you treat me. I cannot think that you can be a good person. Like, it doesn't matter what you are in the life. It's like everyone has an equal. Like, everyone has to be the same.
You've shown real commitment through all of that, but South Africa wasn't the end of the road, was it?
Yeah, yes, I was gonna say that. Yeah, in that sense, it's like I wanted to learn the language, and it's something
Mm.
that is happening different from what is my actual status. Like, I moved to another country now, and I live in Ireland, but I'm working in something that is related to my degree, something that I probably when
Mm.
I moved first time to South Africa, I was not gonna be able to do because I didn't have the language. But now that I moved to Ireland, I have the opportunity to work with English and Spanish. I work for a South African company that provides services for Spanish speakers. So I still have to talk in English to everybody in South Africa, but speaking Spanish
Yes.
for my customers in Spain or Latin America. So
Yes.
it is. I think it's not difficult to get out from like it's not difficult to go out from your country as soon as you have your goal. The difficulty is more about what is in the environment, like the people, the
Mm.
visas, money. It's more that
Yeah.
than because you can move out, but how you will get there is the problem, I guess. I think that is what
That's right.
I see now.
Now, you've mentioned it already. You're not in South Africa currently. You're actually in Ireland. Your goal of getting to speak the language obviously succeeded. You're now working in a company that allows you to use your mother tongue, but also the language you chose to learn. But how did you end up in Ireland?
That was really 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 nice story actually, because after all of those 11 years in South Africa, I got married with a South African. She's a beautiful, lovely doctor. She's from Johannesburg, and we meet during COVID. In COVID, that was so difficult time. So we met in 2021.
Yes.
And then we started just hanging out, and our life was so nice, and that we wanted to keep going and doing something together. And in that time, I was struggling with visas in South Africa. The government was taking so long, or there were just benign visas to stay in South Africa. And Michelle, my wife, was working in the cruise ships, and she wanted to start a life in land. And the
Yes.
only play, and we wanted to go also going away together. We were looking to go to Germany. We started again like the same thing of when I was alone. Now we start together, like, okay, where we can go that you and me can move. And then we look for Germany, language barrier again. Like, now we need to learn German. And she, as a
Yes.
doctor, of course, has to do a lot of things to work. And we
Yes.
found a friend through another friend that lives in Dublin. And she told us that doctors here in Ireland doesn't need to present exams. So the medical degree is valid here in Ireland. So we're like, that's the way. Let's go to Ireland. Let's find a job. Let's get that side. Same process. Came to an agency, help us to get the documents, get us to get a hospital for her to work. Then she moved in, and then I also have to wait 9 months for a visa. The struggle, so
Oh, no.
yeah, again waiting for a visa, but this one came faster than the South
Good
African,
to
to be
hear.
honest. Yeah, and then we moved 2 years ago, and but now it's completely different. completely different of the experience of my first time when I moved to South Africa, because now we are too used to we're together, and if we fail, we fail together. If we want to do something better that give us happiness, we at least we have the two of us. Not as before that if I
Yes.
was feeling lonely, it was me, and then try to contact your parents calling somehow. Now also the technology helps a lot, I guess, and that's how we moved to Ireland. We've been 2 years and a half here. Lovely
That's
weather.
right. And with the move having taken place for both South Africa and Ireland, when did you begin to feel those moments of, hey, I'm an outsider here? It sounds like in South Africa that may have been quick because you didn't speak the language. What did that look like in Ireland? Was there a process? Did you feel like an outsider? Take me through that a bit.
Yeah, so Ireland is a little bit more open, I guess, sometimes. Even because I work online, I work from home. I don't go out that often unless I go and play frisbee. That is the only way that I met the locals, and then, like I have my friends now,
Yes.
and I felt like an outsider when I don't have anybody to hang out like as a friend, like with friends. Like it's coming a Saturday and Michelle is working, and I'm like, okay, now what I'm gonna do? Where should I go? I cannot talk to anybody. We have few friends here that are South Africans, but they have probably their own things. And now in South Africa, I used to
Yes.
go and hang out with my friends for frisbee, or even if we're not playing frisbee, I have friends there. But yeah,
Yes.
I was lonely when Michelle was not around. So I needed to go out and at least go to the shop, to the market, and go and talk to whoever was our. Yeah,
That's right.
it is a little bit difficult also when you don't know nobody in the area now.
Yes. And that's probably a reality a lot of people experience. The first moment of feeling like an outsider is just because you've been removed from a community that you were so used to engaging with and interacting with, and you don't have that anymore. And everyone else's lives seem to go on, but yours doesn't move along with everybody else. And what
Yeah.
you mentioned was, I think, an important thing for us to remember is build a new community, find ways to have it. In South Africa, you spoke about the Frisbee group that you were part of. That became a community and allowed you to suddenly find a belonging within the new home country context you had chosen. And that is the same when you move to Ireland, is building the community is what matters.
Yes, I say like it's really important to do your hobbies. Like if you like to cycle, look for a community that cycles. If you like cricket, go to the community. So I did the ultimate frisbee because I love ultimate frisbee, and I think that's the only way that I can kind of like express myself in a different environment that is open air. People is gonna come. People is friendly. So I think that's something I will suggest to people, like to go out. Like even if they are a little bit introvert, try to do it.
I asked David to reflect on who he has become through all of these moves and how the version of him that left Colombia compares to the person he is now.
The sense of my being more mature. Like when I left South Africa, when I left Colombia, I was 24, and then when I moved to Ireland, I was 33 when I started moving this side. So it's a 10-year gap, 11-year gap that help you to be more mature in sense of like responsibility, how you approach to people. Like when I was moving from Colombia to South Africa, I wanted to party, to have fun, to do what I was not doing in Colombia. Now, when I moved to this side, I'm here with
Yes.
my wife. Of course, we would like to party. Still, it's not that I don't like to party. We like to party. We like to go out. But now you have the responsibility of like, you
That's right.
need to be paying bills. You need to put petrol in your car. You need to project yourself to the future. Like, how much money are we going to save for the house or for a baby if we're gonna have. And all of those things comes now in mind as a
Yes.
family, you know. So I will say that I grow up as a person, like mentally and well physically, everything.
That's right. And that's major transformation that happens. And through all of that change and your maturing and growth, how did that change how you see life more broadly? Maybe how you experience the world around you and the people around you.
Now I think every time that I'm surrounded with somebody, I want to leave a legacy, like to make them know that that I'm a friendly person. Like I want to be their friends. So not only somebody that they meet on the road, more like this is me, this is David, and if you need something, you can count on me one day. I think that's how I see. That's how I see what I see. Yeah, I think so.
And David, you mentioned as well, obviously, when the visas were approved for the first move to South Africa, announcing that to your parents hit quite quickly, quite hard, rather. And that is one of the aspects of a move that people know will be there. Relationships will change and be affected, but only when the reality of it hits. Now you're going to move, all the physical moves happen. Does that reality kick in fully? How did relationships change for you from moving, and did they grow stronger?
Yeah, so family, family look like your dad and your mom, they are more supportive. Like they want you to be safe. They told me like we will help you no matter what. So I think my bonding with my mom got bigger. My dad, that's a little bit more like left behind. Like they care, but they want to assume that they don't care also at the same time. With my sister and my brother, it grows more, especially with my sister. With my brother was a little bit less, but with friends was hard because with friends is you don't talk with them every day like what you do with your
Yeah.
main family. So with friends, I thought everything was gonna be kind of like the same, like talking with them once a week at least or catch up. But no, those things were like probably the first week was like talking, and then suddenly start like once a week, once a month, sometimes once a year, sometimes 2 years, and you haven't talked to them. Like with my best friends in Colombia. So it's hard, especially when you don't have technology. Now the technology will help
Yes.
a little bit. Now at least you can just send a message saying, "Yeah, I miss you guys." Done. One day they will reply,
Yes.
but at least you get the emotions out. But in that time was difficult, like leaving everything. But as I
Mm.
will say, my family, my main and my parents were more with me at this time, and that.
And that also becomes a lot more deliberate because now you need to actually think about that connection, isn't it? You have to be deliberate
Yes.
about making phone calls. When you live close to them, well, when I see you, I'll see you because you're living around each other. And I think there's
Mhm.
something special about the need to schedule in time to say I have to connect that helps to grow that bond. And a lot of
Yes.
these connections will change. And you've touched on that, and it's come up in previous podcasts as listeners hear those, where some of the relationships with friends also morph and change. Some become stronger, some do fall away, and that's part of the ebb and flow to expect when you move. Now, having settled in Ireland, having been in South Africa, when was the first time you began to feel I belong? This is somewhere I could call home. What was the point that it took you to get to that stage?
When in South Africa, I can say that I was home. Like I call always South Africa home because I have so much attached to South Africa. And I think I become homeless this time. I become more like my family there when all my friends were around with me, and I have a good job. I have my friends. I have my sport. I have, I don't know, material things like my motorbike, and you can see like you're projecting your life towards something. And I think that was probably after 4 years when I was there that I can say that was home. Like I came here
Yes.
for a reason, and now I completed and doing what I wanted to do, and I left
Mm.
everything behind. Like as I say, my plan was only 2 years, and then I stayed 11 years. So I left all my life. I wanted to come back just because of
Mm.
our ex girlfriend that I had there. But then when we broke up after a few months in South Africa, I said like, well, there's no point to come back. Like
Yes.
my family will stay there, but they will come and visit me. Way better than
That's
to
right.
come and visit me, and that's it. And then I said like, maybe let's make this my home and then invite them to come. That's what was in my mind that time. And actually, my mom came to visit me
Mm.
there. And when after she visited me, she said, like, now I understand why you like this place, why you are falling in love
Yes.
in this country. So
How
made all my
beautiful.
friends.
That must have been a great affirmation for you.
Mm. Yeah, it was like I think after she visited me, she was so relaxed, and you can see that through the eyes, like this is your place, stay here.
Yes.
and practically stay. I was also really happy there in South Africa.
David, have you reached that point in Ireland yet, or is it still in progress?
We're still in progress, yeah. Now it's not only me. Now I have to count on my wife. So
Right.
we have achieved a lot of things together, ups and downs. It's not easy to move again to another country and leave everything behind again and walk again all the friends, all the family that now you have in South Africa to a new place to create your new family, your new friends. The same thing, also material things to have your new car. No, doesn't have to be new, but the the new life again. And I think we're still in the process. We're still getting there.
Yes.
2 years is still too short, but I think we're in a good track together, and we have done things that we like and that we enjoy being in a.
And I think you've got a helpful place to come from because you can compare settling in to a place to call home from South Africa and Ireland. And I think the important thing to carry forward is that feeling home takes time. It's not something you arrive and aha. Some people may have that, but for majority, it takes time to be able to get there. South Africa took 4 years and you continued to build on that. And there isn't a set time for people to suddenly achieve that moment to just say, I'm home now. It's going to look different for different people.
Yes, it doesn't come one day to another one. It's a process, yeah, as you say.
Across all of these moves that have taken place, from the moment you left Colombia to where you are now, what would you say that you have learned about yourself that you couldn't have learned any other way?
I learned to be patient. If I don't have the patience to do all the stuff, or like to be patient in being working in a restaurant, in being without friends, in being alone in a house, and then patient to move with visas, patient to get abroad, and then again start with a new life. If I don't have that patience, I think it was gonna be more difficult.
Yes.
And I think that's something that I have. Oh,
Yeah, patience is key, particularly in the whole movement. We think that once the visas are done, then things are going to be easier, but there's still things that come up that require patience.
yeah.
When you move to some countries, finding accommodation takes time, and that's patience. Being able to learn the new language, if you're going to learn a language, again, is a process of patience to get used to it. So it is something I think many learn is just how to rest into being patient, particularly in a world that we're taught that things come quickly. When you're
Yes.
relocating, nothing comes quickly. Everything takes time. So
Yeah.
patience is key. Now, David, part of my work as a life coach is to be able to help people to tell the story of their life, to be able to look at where they've come from, where they are currently, and where they're moving to in the future. And every story comes in chapters, and chapters have titles. So if you were to give this chapter of relocation a title, what title would you give it and why?
I think that I will give them the echo of a life, the echo of a life, because I think the way that you reproduce an echo when you, because the sound just go and go and go. You can think that my life was trying to get into somewhere, but to get into somewhere you have to go one step, and then as soon as you get into that one, you go to another one. So that echo is gonna grow every time. So I think I would call it the echo of my life, of the life. Yeah.
And if somebody was listening right now and they're in that place where they're about to undertake a move like yours, or they've just had one, what is one thing you would want them to understand as they go through that?
I would say don't rush. Don't rush your documents. Don't rush in moving. Just enjoy being with your family, because when you are on the other side, all of those things you're gonna miss. So don't rush documents. Don't rush. Of course, do the documents, but don't rush in being like, oh, I need to move. No, 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 no. Just
Yes.
give it time and enjoy your life with your family, with your friends. Because on the other side, you're going to start a new life, and you will only have those memories about your friends and family.
Well, that was David sharing snapshots of his story of his relocation from Colombia to South Africa and then from South Africa to Ireland. And David, thank you so much for sharing your story so openly. We appreciate the way that you've just taken us through a journey Well, if you're listening to this and something in this conversation has resonated with you, you are not alone in that. These experiences are often quieter than people expect, but they shape how we see ourselves, our relationships, and who we belong to. Home Again is part of Bravely Me, a practice supporting people through life's transitions, identity shifts, and change in relationships. If you'd like to explore your own experience more deeply, you can find out more at bravelyme.eu. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you again in the next episode.